Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Tonight is 29th of Rabiul Awwal. Our story after Ayyub alayhi salam is the story in the book, chapter 12, Story of Dhul Kifl. In the English version, the page number is 298. The story of Dhul Kifl. In Surah Al-Anbiya, verse number 85 and 86, translates the meaning where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the verse after the story of Ayyub alayhi salam and Ismail and Idris and Dhul Kifl. All of them were from among the patient ones, and we admitted them to our mercy. Indeed, they were the righteous. And Surah Sad, verse 45 to 48, after the story of Ayyub alayhi salam, the translation of the verses says, "And mention our slaves Ibrahim, Ishaq, and Yaqub. They were owners of strength in worship and doing righteous deeds, and were men of insight. Surely we conferred upon them a special distinction that they remember the hereafter, and they are with us, verily, of the chosen and the best." And mention Ismail and al-Yasha and Dhul Kifl. Yasin. Yasa and Dhul Kifl, and they were of the best. It seems obvious, as he mentioned in the Quran, alongside these prophets, alayhim as-salam, that he was also a prophet. May Allah send his peace upon all of them. This is the popular opinion. However, others said that he was not a prophet, he was only a pious, just, and wise man. Ibn Jarir rahimahullah did not take any position in this matter. Ibn Jarir and Abu Najih have narrated from Mujahid, he was not a prophet, but was a pious man who took the responsibility to guide his people to the way of Allah and judge between them with justice, and so he was called Dhul Kifl, the one who is responsible. Ibn Jarir and Ibn Abi Hatim have narrated from Mujahid, saying, when Al-Yasa grew up, he said, "I wish I could appoint someone four people who could look after them in my life, so I could watch how he fulfills his duty." So he called people to him and said to them, "Whoever could fulfill 3 conditions from me, I would appoint him on behalf of me. These are the 3 conditions. He should fast during the daytime, he should pray in the night, and should never get angry."
Bismillah. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa mawala. Dhul Kifl, a person whom the scholars differed if he is a prophet or is he a righteous man. I would like these brothers to come forward. The one who's come, fill up the gaps, ya ikhwani. Don't sit at the back and scattered like that. The one who's on the wall, come closer to this wall. Be scattered, because this is going to not bring the barakah to the class. So this person, Dhul Kifl, the scholars differed, is he a righteous man or is he a prophet? And the correct opinion from the scholars, it is he's a prophet, because he's been mentioned in the ayat is to be a prophet. And Dhul Kifl is only mentioned twice in the Quran, in the 2 surahs, which is Al-Anbiya and Sad, which has been recited just now. Now there is a saying that Dhul Kifl is a son of Ayyub alayhi salam, which is not correct. And we cannot really verify that Ayyub alayhi salam, as Ibn Kathir had stated in his book, that he had a son called Hawmal, and then he had another son called Bishr, who is the person who's called Dhul Kifl, and he's the son of Ayyub, and he had lived for about 75 years. All of that is from the Israeliyat. And we said regarding the Israeliyat, that means the stories from Bani Israel, we do not believe and we do not disbelieve. But if there is something which is the Quran would support, we believe. And if the Quran does not support, then we don't believe. The Quran belies, we do not believe it. But if the Quran does not support, we leave it as a story here. But now, that story is going to be mentioned now, so which is Al-Yasa', one of the prophets we're going to be talking about, that he had it says there's a story, which is a long one, and all of that is not authentic. So authenticity wise, from Mujahid, it is not authentic. And it's a long story. Maybe it's better for you to read it as better than Harry Potter story, because this is to do with something with the prophets. But just like Harry Potter stories are fake, this one we don't know, okay, if it's correct or not. And any da'iyah who had mentioned this story as to be a story which is authentic and we learn from it a lot, actually we learn from it something that we should not be reading it as well, because the story, as I said, it's got, as Imam Ibn Kathir said at the end of it, it is not really supportive in the way that it has been narrated. It's a story which is, you could see that there is nothing there right about it. And also we find there is a hadith which is mentioning a man who wanted to have a woman to fornicate with her, wal-'iyadu billah, and his name is al-Kifl. This hadith you find it in Sunan Tirmidhi and Muslim Imam Ahmad, and the authenticity of it is unauthentic. Let alone that this word al-Kifl is not Dhul Kifl. It's not a prophet. It's a man called al-Kifl that he wanted to fornicate, and later on he had repented. As soon as that woman, she said, she was scared when he wanted to fornicate with her, and he said to her, why are you doing this? The end of the story. Basically, that hadith is not authentic, but if it is authentic anyway, but it's not authentic, that is talking about a man which is not Dhul Kifl. There's a narration which mentions Dhul Kifl, and that is very, very weak. The man is to be called Dhul Kifl, and that is very, very weak. And Shaykh al-Albani had made this authenticity, this explained in his book, Silsila al-Da'ifa. طيب, so I would leave that story for you to read, okay? And I will just read for you what is authentic from that Dhul Kifl. So Dhul Kifl is basically, he is not the person of son of Ayub alayhi salam. We don't know that. He's been mentioned there to be from the prophets, and Quran had praised him along with the other prophets. Okay, that's the only thing that we could say from the story of Ibn Kathir that goes along with the condition that we set when we started this silsila episodes of the prophets. Other than that, we cannot just say. So it's been mentioned there, a number of things. None of it is to be authentic. So we go now to the stories of people who were being punished, as in general, mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah. So we find, now.
Chapter 13, the story of people who were destroyed by divine punishment. Surah Qasas, verse number 43, translation of the meaning, and we gave Musa the scriptures after we had destroyed the former generations. The verse clearly shows that Allah had destroyed many nations before Torah was revealed to Musa alayhi salam and rooted them out as nations. Ibn Jarir and Ibn Abu Hatim have narrated from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu, who said, Allah did not destroy any people by punishment from the heaven or from the earth after the Torah was revealed to Musa alayhi salam, except the people of that town who were transformed to monkeys. Then he recited the verse, which translate as we read, and we gave Musa the scriptures after we had destroyed the former generations. And from those people who were destroyed were the people of Ar-Rass.
Right. Verily, yeah, the Imam Ibn Kathir, which hasn't been translated in your book, which is, he says that that hadith is narrated by al-Bassam, and he had made this hadith from the Prophet, and he says the more likely of it is to be from the companion, from this waqf, it is not from the Prophet, that is from the companion Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. The correct regarding this issue, that this hadith is actually authentic, and even if it is from the companion himself, such things like this cannot be said by opinion. And Abu Sa'id al-Khudri is not known to narrate something from the Israeliyat. So if it's, for example, been mentioned by Abdullah ibn Salam or Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, whom they used to read in the scriptures of the Jews, then they would say, yes, maybe most likely he read it from the book of theirs. But anyway, this hadith, as I said, it is to be sahih in the Hakim, Mustadrak al-Hakim, and al-Bazzar, from the Prophet himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And even if it is from the authenticity of it from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, as Ibn Kathir he said, this hadith cannot be said by opinion, so it must be from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it doesn't make a difference whether it's from the Prophet or from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. This is that it says basically, before Musa alayhi salam, the people is to be destroyed as a general punishment. But after the Torah was sent to Musa alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not punish people in general. It was not a punishment that will take all the people at the time if they did not accept the Prophet call to Islam. So after Musa alayhi salam, that is why the people of Musa alayhi salam, they were not destroyed. But the Fir'aun soldiers, they were destroyed. But in terms of the other prophets before, the whole of the people, all of them, they will be destroyed. And amongst them, it could be as well Muslims as well, that will be destroyed with those people. So there will be like a general phenomena, like for example, a flood or an awful cry or the thunder or the gusting wind and all of that would kill everybody. طيب. So now from those people is saying the Ashab al-Rass. Ashab al-Rass mentioned in Surah Qaf. Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, Fadl. Read from where you just left it.
Surah Al-Furqan, verse number 38 and 39.
So the first surah was mentioned Furqan, and the second place where it's mentioned, they mentioned twice in Surah Qaf. Fadl. Nah.
And Surah Qaf, verse 12 to 14. Translation of the meaning of the verses: and Aad and Thamud and the people of Ar-Rass, and many generations between them. For every one we set a similitude, and every one we destroyed utterly. And Surah Al-Qaf, translation of the verse 12 to 14. Before them the people of Nuh rejected, and the people of Ar-Rass and Thamud, and Aad and Fir'aun, and the brethren of Lut, and the dwellers of the thicket, and the people of
Al-Aika,
and the people of
Tubba.
Tubba. Each one rejected the messengers, and so my threat was fulfilled. As is clear from both contexts, the people of Ar-Rass were destroyed and uprooted to the last man. Ibn Jarir rahimahullah has narrated from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, the people of Ar-Rass were from the towns of Thamud. Ibn Asakir says in the beginning of his book of history, when he mentions the building of Damascus from Abdullah ibn Jardad and others, Allah sent to the people of Ar-Rass a prophet called Handala bin Safwan.
This is not authentic. We don't have a prophet called Handala ibn Safwan, where they belied him and they killed him. So this is not authentic, and the Lajna Da'ima, they were mentioning, a question has been said to them, a Lajna Da'ima, which is the scholars of the people in Saudi Arabia, we mentioned a question to them regarding this, and regarding as well anything to do with this, which is the Prophet ﷺ later on will mention that the first person who will enter Jannah is the slave black, or the black slave. They will mention that this is not authentic, and is not even authenticated by Ibn Kathir himself, who mentioned it in his tafsir. So Handala ibn Safwan is not a prophet. We don't know him as a prophet. We don't know even who is that person. But let's read what you're going to say.
But they rejected, belied, and killed him.
No.
So Aad
ibn Aus ibn Iram ibn Sam ibn Nuh. This is the names, Allahu A'lam. This is from Israeliyat. And his son from Ar-Rass, they went to Al-Ahqaf, where it's mentioned in Surah Al-Ahqaf. Na'am.
And the son and his son left Ar-Rass and camped in Al-Ahqaf, and then their descendants scattered all over Yemen, and Allah destroyed the people of Ar-Rass.
Allahu A'lam. And now another person called Jayrun ibn Sa'd ibn Aad ibn Aus. You got that one as well?
Yeah.
Okay, all these are names, Allahu A'lam with them. So anyway, he says here that Ashab al-Rass, it looks like they are before Aad with long time. And that is as well, we say Allahu A'lam. another narration which is authentic, that is from Ibn Abbas, Ar-Rass, it is a bi'r bi Azerbaijan. It's a well in Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan lies in the north of Iran, the southern of, near the Uzbekistan, all this, the southern of Russia, basically. And that is authentic. Wallahu a'lam. تفضل.
So Jabrun bin Sa'ad bin Aad went to...
Whatever I mentioned, don't read it, please. Just go to...
Abu Bakr Muhammad bin Hassan Naqash has mentioned, the people of Ar-Rass had a well from where they drew...
Ar-Rass.
Ar-Rass.
Because Ar-Rass means the head. So don't make them the head.
Ar-Rass. Yeah. Ar-Rass had a well from where they drew the water.
And this is not authentic as well. And wish you there is a shaitan story there, so it is not authentic. Right. So if I just skip all of that and I say unauthentic, whatever is being mentioned there after that is unauthentic. And I don't like to, as I said, waste your time to mention things which is not authentic. So you've got up to where?
Then Suhail said.
Right. Well, Suhail? All of that as well.
Suhaili.
Yeah, it's not authentic. Some scholars, they mentioned, so you haven't got a lot other things as well. It's not everything, by the way, in Kathir. This is abbreviated, by the way. Then they've mentioned that some of the scholars mentioned that they are Ashabul Ukhdud. You know, the ones of the trench, which is mentioned in Surah Al-Buruj. And this is also not authentic. Cannot be Ashabul Ukhdud. Because those people, Ar-Rass, they've been destroyed. And those destroyed, they were before what? The Torah. And Ashabul Ukhdud, they were at the time of Isa alayhi salam. And the time of Isa alayhi salam definitely is well after the time of Musa alayhi salam. Now we come to the people of Yasin. Yes?
Yeah.
Fadal.
The people of Yasin. In Surah Yasin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned between verse 13 and verse 18.
Now, this is the only place where the people of the village, which are called the people of Yasin. That means the people mentioned in Surah Yasin. Yasin is not a name of a prophet, nor a person should name himself Yasin. Okay, Yasin is written Ya and then Sin. It's not Yasin as in Ya, Alif, Sin, Ya, well, no, this is 5 letters. No, Yasin is 2 letters. Yasin wal Quran al-Hakim. So they are letters, Allah knows what they are. Now, further.
Translation of the meaning of these verses. And set for them a similitude of the people of the town when the messengers came to it. And we sent to them 2, but they disbelieved in them. So we strengthened them with a 3rd, and they said, we are messengers to you. They said, you are only humans like us, and the Most Gracious has not sent anything down. Surely you are lying. They said, our Lord knows that we have been sent to you, and it is only for us to convey the manifest message. They said, we augur an evil omen from you, so if you do not resist, we will stone you, and we will afflict you with a painful chastisement. The translation from 19 to 25 in Surah Yasin says, they said, your evil omens are with yourselves. Do you threaten us because we admonish you? Truly you are a transgressing people. And then a man came running from the farthest part of the town. He said, O my people, follow the messengers. Follow those who do not ask any reward of you and who are guided. And why should I not worship Allah, the one who originated me and to whom you shall be returned? Shall I take other gods than him? If Allah, the Most Gracious, intended harm to me, their intercession will not avail me, nor can they save me. Surely, in that case, I should be in open error. Indeed, I believe in your Lord, so listen to me. Translation of the verse 26 to 29 continues. It was said, enter paradise. He said, I wish that my people knew that my Lord has forgiven me and placed me among the honored. And we sent not down after him against his people any hosts from heaven nor was it needful for us to do so. It was no more than a single mighty blast, and they were silent and still.
So these are the last people to be mentioned in the Quran regarding those who are being destroyed in totality. This is before the revelation of the Torah, before the revelation of the Torah to Musa alayhi salam. And is their story is only mentioned in one surah, Surah Yasin, which is from the verses that he's been read. All of those verses talks about the story of the people of Yasin, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says that, and it's going to be explained in a minute inshallah, what these people had said. So let's just go ahead and leave Ibn Kathir to say what he wants to say. Now, some of the Salaf, they said this is a village of Antakya. Now, if it is mentioned to be Antakya, it has two phases in the history. One phase where they were destroyed, and then the people at the time of Isa alayhi salam, there were 3 from the disciples were sent to them. Then no problem to accept this. But to say this is Antakya is one phase of history, because Antakya, it has been sent to it 3 disciples from the disciples of Isa alayhi salam, and they have believed in the call of those 3. And this is definitely not talking about the people of Yasin, because the people of Surah Yasin is actually being destroyed totally because they did not believe. So let's just let Ibn Kathir talk about it, and we will elaborate if there is something which should be elaborated upon. Naam.
It was widely known among the people of the past scholars that this town was Antakya.
You know what is Antakya? In the Mediterranean. Yeah? Antakya is in the Mediterranean. Naam.
They had a king who worshipped idols. Allah sent down to them 3 prophets who were Saduq, Masduq, and Shalum.
And that's from the Israeliyat, definitely. Naam.
But they rejected them all.
Naam.
It is very clear that all these 3 were prophets. When the Prophet Isa alayhi salam sent 3 of his disciples to Antakya, they were the first town to believe in him at that time. This is the reason why Antakya is one of the 4 cities from whom Christian patriarchs are chosen. And they are Antakya, Jerusalem, Alexandria, and Rome. However, the people of that town to whom the 3 messengers were sent, they were destroyed, as the Quran has mentioned it. It was no more than a single mighty blast, and they were silent and still.
That means this cannot be true. Now,
it is possible.
Yeah, there's a possibility, which is if you have 2 phases of history, something before happened. Now,
however, those 3 messengers were sent down to the town of Antakya in ancient time, and they rejected the truth, so Allah destroyed them. But they again flourished, and then Isa alayhi salam sent to them his disciples. They believed in him.
So this could be accepted, but as I said, it's far-fetched, and we will believe that Allahu Akbar cannot be Antakya. Naam.
Allah said,
now this is the interpretation of the verses. وَاضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلًا. Naam.
and set for them a similitude of the people of the town. The divine address is made to the Prophet
Muhammad
sallallahu alayhi wa
So
sallam.
Allah is speaking to the Prophet of Allah to tell the believers, give them an example, give them a parable to learn from. And that is Ashab al-Qaryah.
When the messengers came to it, and we sent to them 2, but they disbelieved in them, so we strengthened them with a 3rd.
So the 3 prophets came to one village, one people. Now,
The people of that town disbelieved the 2 messengers already sent to them, so Allah, to support them and support the message, sent a 3rd messenger alongside with them, and they said, "We are the messengers to you."
this is the same stories of all the prophets before. So they said to them, "We are the messengers for you." Go on. But they
However, they answered to them, "You are only humans just like us."
said, so who would they say? You are human. If they sent them angels, they would say, "Angel, we can't do what you're doing, so you're an angel, we're a human being." In both cases, these guys, they will go. So Allah sent them angel, they would say, "How can we imitate an angel? He's an angel, I'm a human being. If you have just sent us a human being, if you sent a human being, how can we believe a human being? If you believe it was an angel, it would be better." So in both cases, whatever Allah sends them angels or sends them human beings, the person who's a disbeliever always will find an excuse not to follow. Now,
And they said, so you're just like us, so how come a divine revelation came to you?
This is the envy. Envy. Hasad. Naam.
What made you distinguished from us? They regarded it far-fetched and unlikely that God would send a human to guide people. The messengers replied, our God, Allah, knows best that we are His messengers. Were we not, He would have punished us for our lies.
Do you understand this logic? So if you believe that there is a God, and presumably they believe, because they said, how can God send us human beings? That means they believe in the God, but they don't believe that they are messengers of God. So if you believe that there's a God, but you did not believe that these people sent from God, then how come you don't believe that God of yours is not strong enough to destroy these people when they lie? So these people, they're saying that we are prophets for the God whom you believe in. So how come that you don't believe that your God is not strong enough to kill those three or those two whom they have claimed already they are from God? Because if they are not from God, Allah will kill them. Allah will not support them. Allah will not fulfill their words. So which one that you don't believe in? The God Himself or those prophets? If you believe in that, don't believe in the God, that's somehow, but they believe in the God, and that's why they said it can't be God sent you. You have to be sent something else. So they said to them, well, if they were not prophets, you know for well that Allah will kill us. Naam.
And they said, we augur an evil omen from you, and you caused us bad luck.
No. That's what they said. We have only the messages upon us, just to deliver the message. That means we're not asking for money. We're not asking for position. We're not asking to be honored. We're not asking for all that. If they were asking for money, now we know you're claiming you're a prophet because you want to have some support, or for example, you want to have a rank, you have to have a position. But they're not after for that. They're after just, we're delivering the message. So that is why when they said, قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم. This is the same thing they said to people of Lut, said to Lut عليه السلام, تطيرنا بكم. We are, feeling pessimism. We don't feel okay with you. You guys mentioning things that makes us really feel down. Now, if you don't stop,
so if you don't desist, we will stone you and we will afflict you with a painful chastisement. They threatened them to severe consequences if they did not stop their message.
Now, نرجمنكم stone you in English have one meaning. Stone you with stones, isn't it? You can't stone them with words, can you? Can you? Can you in English say, I'm going to stone you? Do you understand from he stoned me with words? But in Arabic, لنرجمنكم, it has two meanings. Stone, that is with the actions or with the words. And Arabic can take that. So لنرجمنكم, that means we're going to shower you. It could be with stones, which is actions, or it could be with words. And the Arabic only, but it's English, when we're going to stone you, that means straight away your mind is gone what? It's not. So I mean, we're going to revile you, we're going to abuse you, we're going to insult you, we're going to call you sorcerers and call you all of that. That's all of it, narjumannakum. And the best interpretation for narjumannakum is not stone you, it's actually with the words. Because after that he said, وَلَا يَمَسَّنَّكُم مِنَّا عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. And verily, you will find severe chastisements from us. What more severe chastisement than the stoning with the stones? So it cannot be the stones. So do you understand? If it was the stones, then there's no meaning of we're going to have you, severe chastisement. You can't have a worse chastisement than stoning somebody who's alive. Okay? So that is, they have threatened them that they're going to kill them and humiliate them. So they said, the prophets, قالوا طائركم معكم. Just continue reading, you'll come to it.
They threatened them of severe consequences if they did not stop their message. However, the messenger said, your evil omens are with yourselves.
That means it's rejected. It's upon you.
It is not we that cause you any evil. Do you threaten us because we admonish you?
Subhanallah. We are telling you believe in Allah. And we're not saying you put money in my pocket. We're saying you believe in Allah and you're threatening us for this, to kill us and humiliate us. بل أنتم قوم مسرفون. Continue.
Truly you are a transgressing people.
That means you don't accept the haqq and you don't want the haqq. So you don't want the haqq, nor you accept the haqq. Also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, now we're talking about the believer of the Surah Yasin. Mu'min Qawm Yasin. His name, Mu'min, the believer of the tribe, which is mentioned in Surah. Who is that Mu'min? Yasin. Now, Allah says.
The Quran also says, a man came running from the furthest part of the town.
Now, this ayah was mentioned, but in some sort of different ways. It's mentioned in Surah Yasin and also was mentioned in Surah Al-Qasas. And we're going to come to it when we come to talk about Story of Musa عليه السلام. Surah Al-Qasas verse 20. Allah says, وَجَاءَ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ رَجُلٌ يَسْعَى. This is Surah Yasin. But the one which is in Surah Al-Qasas, وَجَاءَ رَجُلٌ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ يَسْعَى. So what is the difference between this one which is in Surah Al-Qasas, talking about the person who is mentioned in Surah or the story of Musa, and the person who has been mentioned regarding the believer of Yasin? Both of them are believers, by the way. But here, the one which is in Surah Al-Qasas, the story of Musa, وَجَاءَ رَجُلٌ, a man came min أقصى المدينة, from the farthest part of the city. Whereas in Surah Yasin, وَجَاءَ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ رَجُلٌ, and he came from the farthest part of the city, a man. This is the eloquence of the Arabic. In English it doesn't make difference to you, but in Arabic, in the Surah Yasin, the focus is upon the man. This man is coming out of all these, in Surah Yasin, this man is the believer out of all these disbelievers. Whereas the focus in Surah Musa is about what this person is going to convey to Musa regarding the people of Fir'aun. They're going to be the people that are going to preparing to kill you and all of that. So there's no focusing upon him. He's just like an ordinary man. Whereas the other person is a mighty believer man. Do you understand the Arabic now? So the وَجَاءَ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ رَجُلٌ, and from the farthest part of the city a man came. Here Surah Yasin focusing about that man and the only man amongst the people of Surah Yasin who had believed, telling the people to follow the prophets. Please continue.
He came to support those messengers and to proclaim his iman and belief in Allah. He said, O my people, follow the messengers,
تَبِعُوا الْمُرْسَلِينَ تَبِعُوا مَنْ لَا يَسْأَلُكُمْ أَجْرًا وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. Go on.
Follow those who do not ask any reward of you and who are guided.
So they are not asking you for wages or money. They're calling you to the pure haqq without any return. Now,
They are sincere for your deliverance and salvation in the hereafter. Do not run away from them. Do not run away from them because they do not demand any reward for their mission. A man then invited the people of his town to worship of Allah alone.
so he called them to worship Allah alone, no partner for him. Naam.
And he said that it would be sheer folly of him if he worshipped other than him, Allah, who originated him and gave him his sustenance.
So basically he forbade them from worshipping other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which will not benefit you, not in the dunya nor in the akhirah. Then he said, إِنِّي إِذَا لَفِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ.
And why should I not worship Allah, the one who originated me and whom you shall be returned? Shall I take other gods than him? If Allah the most gracious intended harm to me, their intercession will not avail me, nor can they save me. Surely, in that case, I should be in open error.
What happened to him now?
Then the man spoke to the messengers, saying, Indeed, I believe in your Lord, so listen to me. Listen to me that I have believed in Allah, and bear witness for me about it, that is my belief with your Lord.
That means listen to me either with your Lord, that means take my message, or listen to me while I'm talking to my people. I'm a believer. So he openly talks about his belief in front of the people. So listen to me, O messengers, while I'm declaring my iman. Then?
So the people came to him and killed him.
So they killed him. Now it was said how they killed him, chastisement, stoning him. Allahu Alam. Na'am.
Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma said, Habib Najjar, the name...
Allahu Alam. Habib Najjar, we have no idea. Okay, so what we said that they have killed him. Wallahu Alam. Na'am.
The name of the man who was said to be a carpenter was afflicted by leprosy and was a charitable person.
All of that from Bani Israeliyat. Faddal.
But his carpenter, was afflicted by leprosy and was a charitable person, but his people killed him. When he was killed, Allah said to him, enter paradise.
Yes, Allah Azza wa Jalla said in the Quran, enter paradise. You are in Jannah. He's already in Jannah. Naam.
When he saw the bounties of Allah therein and the pleasures and satisfactions, he said, I wish that my people knew that my Lord has forgiven me and placed me among the honored.
So he wishes that his people has been informed about what the honor is in, so they could see, I'm in honor. You killed me, I'm in honor. I wish that my people can see that, and then they will learn, and they go to what? To the deen. Now,
if they could believe in what I have believed, they also could get the same rewards.
Subhanallah. So he's not really a person who is selfish. He wants the khair and the haqq to the people. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه من الخير. Nobody would gain the proper belief until he loves for himself, what he loves for his brother, what he loves from himself, for himself, from the good. So if you love for your brother what you love for yourself from the good, then you're a true believer. Otherwise, you're not. Naam.
Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma said that the man admonished his people in his life and said, O my people, follow the messengers. And then he admonished them after his death when he said, I wish that my people knew that my Lord has forgiven me and placed me among the honored. It was narrated by Ibn Abi Hatim, Qatada, and Qatada said, you would not find a believer but an advisor of good.
That's
and
why
not
believer is always an advisor. The believer is always what? Advisor. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, إِنَّمَا الدِّينُ النَّصِيحَةِ. All religion is based upon what? Advice. That's the religion. So for those people who see things which is not correct from the brothers and they don't know nothing, he's not a true believer. You should advise him. You shouldn't say, what can I do? Let him. If everybody can say like this, people are not going to be rectified. So you are a nasih. And you just nasiha. You saw somebody who's smoking a cigarette from the brothers, brother, wallahi, this is haram. Just tell him this word and leave it. You're not supposed to go and follow him and beat him up if he doesn't stop smoking. Just tell him that word. And I can't find myself better than to tell you what I have seen with my own eyes. When I went with Sheikh Muhammad Jamil Zinu, may Allah have mercy upon him. He's one of the students of Sheikh Al-Albani. Very old man. I was with him from his house to the haram, and the Sheikh, I went with him as well inside Al-Abraj, Braj Mecca, which is opposite the haram. And I can't remember to get what. When we went inside, wallahi, the Sheikh never stopped seeing somebody who's smoking a cigarette, comes to him, and then he talks to him about it, and then he's got a sweets in his pocket. He says, this is better for you. He gives him a sweet, and he tells him, cigarettes is haram. And he tells him, and because he's an old man, very old, okay, when I was with him, maybe he was over 70, or over 60, definitely. But he's very old, and he looks very old. He looks older even than his age. So the people would accept from him, and they're just shy. SubhanAllah. Allah, you're not a single person smoking, he doesn't care for about the time. He just comes and stops with him, talks to him, and haram, hereafter, and all of that. These words, and he leaves it with them. If everybody does that, wallahi, nobody would be finding himself to smoke a cigarette except underneath the stairs or somewhere in the toilet, or because he can't find anywhere to save himself from the advice of the people. If everybody started to advise like this, people will try. Those people who are making small sins like that or big sins, they will be hiding. But if they don't find anybody telling them about it, they openly do the haram. I don't see. There's a difference between a person smoking hiddenly because he knows it's haram, it's not allowed, it's not good for him, and somebody who is mujahir bil ma'asi, just talking about it like this, doing it in front of everybody, and then he blew the smoke into your face as well. That one is unlikely he's going to repent, whereas the other one he's hiding. Okay. I had a sheikh teaching me for 2 years. And it was the fiqh al-Shafi'i, fiqh al-Hanbali. And I left him for some years and I came back. And the person used to work for him, he said, Alhamdulillah, he stopped smoking. I said, what? He said, Alhamdulillah, he stopped smoking. He said, Sheikh so-and-so, he was smoking. He said, yes, he used to smoke hiddenly in his office. And then before anybody meets anybody, he's got a mouth sort of spray and also air fresheners, just to hide his crime. I said, Subhanallah, no wonder why I have heard him number of times, at least twice I remember. He was asked in front of the people, Sheikh, what is the hukum, the verdict regarding cigarettes? Ask somebody else, they would say. I said, maybe the Sheikh doesn't know about that. The cigarettes are now at the moment are very harmful. Maybe that's why he's not decisive regarding them. But I knew why he used to say that now. After what, some years, about 7, 8 years. I knew he was saying this because he doesn't want to say haram. And then he will be under the verse, كَبُرَ مَقْتًا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَن تَقُولُوا مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. It is most disliked, most hated with Allah, that you say something which you don't do. Are you saying haram when you're doing it? That's why he said, ask somebody else. I remember those. Now I understand why he said, ask somebody. So this person, most likely he would repent. And that's why he repented and he stopped. He said, Alhamdulillah, he stopped smoking, the guy who used to be close to him. So I couldn't believe that he was smoking. No way. We used to see him a lot. So where does he smoke? Which time? When he used to go to the toilet, for example, or smuggles one, or he doesn't smoke that much. Different from this. I just said, that is why you need to advise. This is what we learn from here. Fadda.
So you would not find a believer but an advisor of good, and you would not find him a cheat. Qatada said that Allah did not rebuke them after they killed the man. It was no more than a single mighty blast, and they
Allah
were silent and still.
Basically responded to what the believer, he had said, I wish my people know what I'm in from the honor. Allah straight away killed them with a blast. Actually, he did not even send them any, for example, soldiers of his from the angels. One blast. It will be said now. What is it?
And Allah said, and we sent not down after him against his people any hosts from heaven.
Any?
Hosts.
Like soldiers? Yeah.
Habitant of heaven.
No.
Nor was it needful for us to do so.
Jund means soldiers from the heavens. Naam. And there is no need.
It was no more than a single mighty blast, and they were silent and still.
Naam.
We did not need to send any angels from the heaven to punish them. It was only a blast that rooted them out. Exegetes said...
Exegetes means the interpreters. Some of them, they said, Allah sent them.
Allah sent them Jibreel alayhi salam.
Allahu a'lam. It looks the ayah says there are no angels there. Just an awful cry. But it could be angel Jibreel who had sent this cry, this blast.
He uprooted the gate of their town and then let out a cry, and they became silent, motionless, dead. All these are clear evidences that the town is not the town of Antakya, since they were destroyed when they rejected the messengers.
In completion, that means all of them. Naam.
And the people of Antakya believed and followed the disciples of Prophet Isa alayhi salam, and that is why it is said that the town of Antakya is the first town to believe in Isa alayhi salam.
In the original book of Ibn Kathir, which is something not being interpreted with you here, that is a hadith which is not authentic. There is being mentioned from At-Tabarani, and it is from the Prophet ﷺ that the sabq, thalatha, that is the people who had raced and rushed for 3, and he's talking about Musa alayhi salam, Yusha bin Nun, and Isa alayhi salam is Sahibu Yasin, was-Sabiq ila Muhammad Ali ibn Abi Talib. This is from a Shia. That means the one who was the first one to respond to the call of the Prophet of Musa was Yusha. To the Prophet of Isa was the believer of Yasin, and to the Prophet Muhammad was Ali ibn Abi Talib. This was narrated by narration which is inside them. There's somebody who's called Hussein, and he was a Shi'i. Well, Hussein most likely, I'm not saying all Hussein, but Hussein is a Shia from the Ghulah, and that's why the hadith was not authentic. طيب, now we finished, alhamdulillah, the stories of those nations who have been destroyed before the revelation of the Torah. Now we come to the beginning of Surah, or the story of Yunus عليه السلام. Yes? طيب, Surah Yunus عليه السلام, inshallah, it is fascinating. There is lots of things to learn from it. let's just do the first part of story of Yunus alayhi salam. First of all, Yunus, which is not in your book, mentioned in the Quran clearly. I mean as in Yunus 4 times. And he's mentioned twice by his you could call it a nickname or nickname or a reference to refer to it, which is the noon. The noon. Noon means the hoot. The noon means the whale. And وصاحب الحوت كصاحب الحوت. So he's mentioned twice in reference and 4 times in his name Yunus. طيب, Yunus عليه السلام was sent to the people of Nineveh place. That's the correct opinion. And Yunus عليه السلام, he is from the lineage of Ishaq عليه السلام. طيب, let's just make a start and I'm going to follow you with that. جزاك الله خيرا. تفضل.
Chapter 14, the story of Yunus عليه السلام. The Quran says in Surah Yunus, verse number 98, which translates in English, "Was there any town that believed after the punishment came, and their faith benefited them at that time, except the people of Yunus? When they believed, we removed from them the chastisement of ignominy in the life of this world, and we gave them enjoyment for a time."
So these are not from those who were being destroyed. They were to be people from what? Being saved. So we removed the chastisement from them. There was no chastisement upon them. Now, also Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 87 to 88. Allah mentions now Yunus in his reference as وَذَنُّونَ. Now,
In the translation of the meaning, "And remember the noon," which is Yunus alayhi salam, when he went off in anger and imagined that we shall not punish him, then he called out in the darkness, "There is no God worthy of worship but you. Glory be to you. I was indeed wrong." So we responded to his call and rescued him from distress. Thus do we rescue the believers. Quran also says in Surah Safat, verse number 139 to 148, "And Yunus was also one of the messengers. When he fled to the laden ship, we agreed to cast lots, and he was of the losers."
cast lots, that means to be thrown from the ship, and he was from the losers. That means the lot was pointing to him to be thrown from the ship. Now,
Then the whale swallowed him, and he was blameworthy. Had he not been of those who glorify Allah, he would certainly have stayed in its belly until the day of resurrection. So we cast him out upon the bare shore in a state of sickness, and we caused to grow over him a marrow plant.
what?
A marrow plant?
What's a marrow plant? You know it? Nobody knows what marrow plant? Yaqteen. Okay, doesn't matter. We'll come to it.
And we sent him to 100,000 or more, and they believed. So we bestowed on them provision until their appointed time.
Surah An-Noon. Surah Noon.
Surah
Not Surah An-Noon. Surah Noon. After that?
Al-Qalam, yeah.
Noon al-Qalam.
And verse number 48 to 50, translation of the meaning. "So wait patiently for the command of your Lord, and do not be like Yunus of the whale."
Yunus of the whale? No, the
Translation
person.
says
Yunus has
Jonah
to be in
of the-
brackets.
Doesn't say.
It has to be
here,
in
so,
brackets.
okay.
There's no mention here. كصاحب الحوت.
Like the
The
person
story
of the whale.
The person of the whale. Yeah, the person who is, his name is linked to the whale. He was in the whale glorifying Allah. And it was said as well that Yunus عليه السلام said, authenticity of it is not there, but this is from the scholars of interpretation, that he found a place to glorify Allah where there's no one have the same masjid. No one can have a masjid inside the whale. He had a special masjid, special spot to prostrate and make qiyam and make salah and make dhikr of Allah. So he said, "I worship you, O Lord, in a place no one had worshipped you before or gonna worship you again in that place." Nobody. Tell me which one you've heard about. He was worshipping Allah inside a whale and then he stayed alive. Now, fadl.
So wait patiently for the command of your Lord, and do not be like the person of the whale, when he cried out in agony. Were it not for the grace of his Lord reaching him, he would have indeed been cast out onto the barren shore in disgrace. But his Lord had chosen him, and he made him the righteous.
نعم. تفضل now what is Ibn Kathir says. جزاك الله خيرا.
Yunus عليه السلام flees. Exegetes said, Allah sent Yunus عليه السلام to the people of Nineveh.
And is in Mosul. Mosul is in Iraq. نعم.
In the land of Mosul, and he called them to the way of Allah, but they rejected his call and disbelieved him. When a long time passed by, he fled from among the among them, threatening them of divine punishment after 3 days. Ibn Mas'ud, radiallahu anhu, Mujahid, Qatada, and many others said that when he fled from among them, and his people became sure that the punishment is imminent and going to inflict upon them, they repented from their sins and showed their regret about the way they dealt with their prophet. They put on their haircloths and took their cattle and separated them from their calves, and they started beseeching Allah for His mercy and forgiveness. Everyone cried, their men and their women and their sons and their daughters, and it was a momentous and moving time for all of them. Allah bestowed upon them His mercy and removed from them their punishment, which was about to fall upon them. Allah said, was there any town that believed after the punishment came?
Okay. Basically, all of it's been mentioned there. There is no support from it from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, or it's been mentioned in the Quran. But what is mentioned in the Quran, that the people of Yunus alayhi salam, they have believed after they were not believing, and Yunus left them angry because they did not believe. They saw that the punishment of Allah is going to come to them, so they straight away went out and they did what the exegetes, mean the people, scholars of interpretation, mixed with from Israeliyat, which, as I said, we can't believe or disbelieve, but they're going along with the story of the Quran. They went out and asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept their repentance. They brought everything with them, whether it is the cattle or whatever it is, everything they brought with them, children, women, mothers, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy. Okay, and Allah spoke about it in the Surah Yunus, verse 98. فَلَوْلَا كَانَتْ قَرْيَةٌ آمَنَتْ فَنَفَعَهَا إِيمَانُهُ. That these people of the village, had it been that they did not believe, that nothing will help them. But this, because they believed, their belief had helped them. Their repentance had helped them. طيب.
Allah bestowed upon them the mercy and removed from their punishment which was about to fall upon them. And Allah said, was there any town that believed after the punishment came and their faith benefited them? It never happened in human history that a whole town believed in their prophet. It was always as Quran has described it, and that is in...
So that means there is no, before the people of Yunus alayhi salam, any nations in totality that believed in their prophet. It was not. These people, because all of them believed, Allah removed the punishment from them after they were disbelievers. So Allah says to confirm this, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا فِي قَرْيَةٍ مِّن نَذِيرٍ إِلَّا قَالَ مُتْرَفُوهَا إِنَّ بِمَا أُرْسِلْتُم بِهِ كَافِرُونَ. نعم.
Translation, Surah Saba, verse 34. And we never sent to any town a warner, but the wealthy ones among them said, we disbelieve in that you have been sent with.
So there will be always disbelievers. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Yunus, verse 98,
it was only the town of Yunus alayhi salam that believed to their last man, except the people of Yunus. When they believed, we removed them from the chastisement of ignominy in the life of this world, and we gave them enjoyment for a time. The exegetes are of different opinion whether this belief would save them from the punishment in the hereafter, as it did save them from the punishment of this world. However, the context strongly supports that the notion that it will save them. And Allah said, when they believed and also said, and we sent him to 100,000 or more, and they believed, so we bestowed on them provision until their appointed time.
So the Iman will believe them in the hereafter. Their Iman does not just save them from the punishment of the dunya, but also they will benefit them what? In the hereafter. Naam, they will be in Jannah, basically. Naam.
This provision in this world does not mean that the punishment in the hereafter will not be removed. When Yunus عليه السلام left his people in rage, he boarded a ship. But the ship, after it had sailed for some distance, started jerking and swaying with them upon the huge waves. It was about to sink, according to many exegetes.
Right. Before we do that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said here in the verse that you have just read, that is, وَأَرْسَلْنَاهُ إِلَى مِئَةِ أَلْفٍ أَوْ يَزِيدُونَ. We have sent him to 100,000, that's his people, or more. What is that or more? 100,000 or more. Now, either first interpretation, which is not correct, that is to say, Allah didn't know how many they are. God forbid. Allah didn't know whether they are 100,000 or they are extra. Or the second interpretation, which is, that means as they look for the person, 100,000, it could be more. Not for Allah. That means a person, he could count them 100,000. Another person could count them because they look too many. 110, 120, 130, 140. That's not for Allah, for the people. Or the third interpretation, which is the correct one, this is, we call it bal. إِلَى مِئَةِ أَلْفٍ بَلْ يَزِيدُونَ. So it's 100,000, but actually they are more than 100,000. So the word bal. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, بَلْ أَشَدُّ قَسْوَةً. بل أشد قسوة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the people of Musa alayhi salam when they did not believe. كالحجارة أو أشد قسوة. That means their hearts are like the stones, but they are even actually harder than the stones. And Allah started now praising the stones. وإن من الحجارة لما يتفجر منه الماء. So Allah then started to praise the stones and talk about the hard hearts of those people who did not believe at the time of Musa alayhi salam. They are worse than the stones. So the means bal means actually. We call it in Arabic lil-idrab. So the correct meaning out of the three is the third one. First one we said cannot be. Allah does not know how many. Second one, it is aw yazidun. That means what the people think. Maybe there are 100,000, maybe more. Or the third opinion, which is the correct one, bal is, as mentioned in the Quran in a number of places, means actually. Actually. So Allah says that is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the hearts of the people of Israel. That is قَسَتْ قُلُوبُهُم. That is ومن بعد ذلك قَسَتْ قُلُوبُهُم. That after that they have their hearts gone hard. فهي كالحجارة. It's like stones. بل أشد قسوة. But actually they are even worse than the hard stone. It's harder than the hard stone. نعم. طيب. We stop here. Just that bit. Go on.
The crew and the passengers consulted each other regarding what to do next, and they agreed to cast lots with all the travelers' name. The one whose name is drawn will be thrown into the sea, so they could lighten their loads.
Well, this story is well mentioned in the, as I said, in the Jewish or the Torah, the Old Testament, that he was with them in the ship when he left, and basically. Prophet Yunus عليه السلام did not wait until Allah gave him the permission to leave. Like Lut عليه السلام, like Nuh عليه السلام, they waited. And Allah told them to go, take your family with you. To Lut, take your family with you. Oh Nuh, take whatever from you who we believe and on the ark. But Yunus عليه السلام, he was so annoyed from them that he left them without Allah telling them to leave. He was not patient enough, and he was just left them because they did not respond to him, and he thought that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to send them to other people, to send them the message. So he said, Allah he talked about him, ذهب مغاضبا. مغاضبا means he's annoyed from them. He went in the ship, and in the ship somehow that the ship wanted to drown. So they said that the ship will not take all these people, that we have to really get other people out of the ship, so in order that the ship will become lighter, and then there will be more survivals. So they said, okay, we'll draw lots. They draw lots. They said it's once, and then said, another narration says in the Bani Israel twice, and three times. And every time they draw lots, that a person will come out along with him as well. Yunus عليه السلام. And because Yunus was respected amongst the people who were in the ship as to be a prophet, they didn't want him to be thrown. So that's why they repeated the lots more than once. Then it was him again. So that's what he said. That's the qadr of Allah. So he was thrown from the ship. He came out of the ship onto the sea, and that's straight away when the whale took him inside him. So that's inside him or inside it. Inshallah, we'll talk about that that story in details when we come to it next week, and we'll finish Surah Yunus, the story of Yunus, and we'll finish as well what we learn from the story of Yunus عليه السلام. Do you have any questions? We got just a few minutes. Fadal. Somebody's called Yasin and Hamim. Have you heard about somebody called Hamim? Where is that? Hamim. What about Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad as well?
I have Taha as well.
What about Ain, Sin, Qaf? Allah al-Musta'an. You've got what? Taha, no, Arab, they've got lots of Taha. Taha. And they think it's one of the names of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Any person who's got these names, Hamim or that, we tell them, these are not a'lam. What does a'lam means? They're not names to be named with. Like the word ad-dahr. Ad-dahr means the time. It's not one of the names of Allah, because it's not a alam. You cannot derive an attribute from the word dahr. And don't you be mistaken that when Allah said in the Hadith al-Qudsi, Ana ad-dahr, I am the dahr, that is one of his names. You can't call yourself Abdul Dahr. I would urge this person, if he can, to change his name. If his father's name, no, it's his own name. He could change it from Hamim to a name, because Hamim is not a name. I know that his family respected the Quran so much. Maybe they do like what other people they do. They open the Quran, they put their finger, whatever their finger lies. That's their name. Regardless whether it is Hamir, Bighal, there is donkeys, mules, Khayl, Khuyul, yeah. Whatever the Khinzir, I don't know.
I've heard it on by an Imam.
I don't think so. Khinzir, somebody's naming himself as Khinzir. Don't know. Pig, I mean, swine. Mr. Swine, how are you? He will be haram. He can't be halal. Can't be even halal to sit with us.
Jinn.
Rajim. Wallahi. By Allah, you've heard of somebody called Rajim? Casted in hell. No, Rajim, he said. Are you sure? You have heard him, that person. That person should change his name, Akhi. Rajim shouldn't change his name. He's cast in hell. That is every day I'm learning something new. Khinzir, I didn't know. But I know a person who's called, as I said, somebody is Asfal Safilin, the lowest of the lowest. I know a person is called Abdul Mumit. Yeah, popular, Abdul Mumit. Abdul Mumit. As soon as he told me I was Abdul Mumit, I was really shocked and I was scared. Al-Mumit, the one who passes death. What, you're gonna kill me? Abdul Mumit. I said, Al-Mumit is not one of the names of Allah. Okay? Yuhyi wa yumit. Allah. Abdul Hayy. Better for you, Abdul Mumit. Abdul Hayy, Al-Hayy. Hayy al-Qayyum. Abdul Qayyum. Allah al-Musta'an. Yes, as I said, I respect their respect to the Quran. so in love with the Quran. But that respect sometimes can be seen in a way which is not respectful, which is religiously not respectful. Like for example, asfala safilin, or a person doing this to the Quran. You're doing something well to this. These are not the words of Allah. This is, like it's a cover. Could be made in China. Oh, I know what it's made, true or not. Could be made anywhere. This mushaf will be made in China. You could say, mashallah, the Buddhist made paper. Or the prostration, they go, and then 3-4 times. They make it 3 times. Another person says, oh, that's a good one. They make it 5 times. They make another bid'ah. People follow people. Or people follow people. This is not the way to respect the Quran. The way to respect the Quran, yes, I will not put it on the floor where people can step on top of it. I will not sit on it. A'udhu billah. I will not put it in a table where I'm going to eat food on top of it. A'udhu billah. That's the question. No, you have to call him by his name. So if his name is Abu Jahl, call him Abu Jahl. You're going to call him. You're going to call him Abu Ilm, he doesn't respond to you. Allah al-Musta'an. So when the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ana al-Nabiyyu la kadhib, ana ibn Abd al-Muttalib. I am the Prophet, there's no lying about that. I am the son of Abdul Muttalib. Abdul Muttalib is a kufr name. Because you are Abd, the slave of al-Muttalib. Muttalib is not one of the names of Allah. But because he is the son of Abdul Muttalib, his father is Abdullah, the grandfather is what? So when he says Abdul Muttalib, it's not kufr because he's mentioning the name of somebody. So his name is Hamim, his name Rajim, like he said, cast in hell. Call him Rajim. Brother, Rajim, change your name. Quickly. Quicker than the one who's Hamim. Much quicker. Allah Hadi. A person I know him, his name is Sarmad. Akhi, Sarmad is not a name. He said it's in the Quran. I said the Himar is in the Quran. What does that mean? Himar. Himar. So what does that mean you say in the Quran? Sarmad is not a name. It's a common name in Iraq. Sarmad. Sarmada. Naam. This is to do with the respect of the names of Allah. Respect the names of Allah, ya akhwani. Do not give names which are not names, or the names that will as well compete with the names of Allah Azza wa Jal. Fadal. طيب اخواني احنا we are link live. You have to bear in mind in this issue. Okay. We religious people who believe, regardless whether Muslims or Christians or Jewish, we believe in the story of the sodomy, and it's mentioned in the Bible, the Torah, the Old Testament, Sodom and Gomorrah being destroyed because of the homosexuality. We believe in that. But at the same time, we believe that because you're living in a country where there is a freedom of everything, not just speech, of actions as well, as long as you don't harm somebody, that these people have the right to do what they want. But they have no right to impose upon me what I don't want. They have no right. I respect that you want to be like this. You want to turn yourself into whatever, fish, frog, leopard, whatever. You want to inject yourself and make yourself. If the law governs that, we have no problem with this. But if you ask me, this is correct or wrong, I keep saying it's wrong. And I'm going to teach my children it's wrong. And I'm going to live and die to tell them this is wrong. But wrong at the same time, it doesn't mean I'm going to tell them, as soon as you see somebody like this, go and kill him. A'udhu billah. Somebody said, this is wrong. But at the same time, yes, my neighbor from this side is an atheist. The other one is agnostic. I'm not talking about reality here. This one is a Christian. This one is, Allahu A'lam what he is. And all of them, I'm good to them. How are you? Hello, hi, hi. I don't get, this is high 1, high grade 2, high grade 3. This one, I'm going to insult him. No, I said to them, all of you. And I come with the same smile to all of them. And I shake their hands. I don't say, oh, I'm not going to shake your hand. Oh, you are. Yes, if he went to the toilet, did not clean himself, and I saw that, I will not shake his hand. But as a human being, I respect that he's a human being, and he wants to be different. Okay, but I am as well responsible to tell him that that's what we believe, and I think what we believe is correct, because it comes from God. I am not in a state where I'm going to impose upon you what I believe, but actually you are the one who is imposing upon me to believe that what you're doing is right. It's the other way around now. Just like we respect our rights, okay, and we respect our obligations, please respect our rights as well, like we respect yours. So we've got the right to do whatever you like, but do not say to me that I'm going to teach my children to accept this is to be okay. Now, I'll teach my child that you are living in a country that this can be happen and this can be happen, but I will teach him that Christianity is not the correct religion. Just like I'm going to teach him homosexuality is not the right way. This is my parental element. Where is it going to be taken away from me as well? So I'm going to put in front of him, my dear son, you've got blue, black, green, gray, pink. Choose whatever color you like. So you've got homosexuality, you could choose it. Christian, you could choose it. Judaism, you could choose it. You could worship an idol if you wish. You could go to, make yourself. How can I do that to my son when I don't believe that this is right? Where is my parent element? You're robbing me from that. And look at the double standard. In the school, if the child gone against the school dress code, has to be disciplined. Well, the child doesn't want to wear a blue outfit. Yeah? He wants green. Why don't you accept that as well? He wants to go in green outfit. No, you have to be blue outfit. So if it's the school, I have to be disciplined, punished. But if he goes against the father, but goes along with what they want, they will take him away from you. You understand that? So if he had chosen to be something that you don't want it to be, and you wanted to impose upon him, no, this is not correct, it's our according to deen, then we'll take him out of you. Subhanallah. So if it's a school, they have to bring him out of you can't stay at home, you have to take him to school. SubhanAllah. That's the double standard. That's it's obvious. Yes, we are diversity, cosmopolitan, and all of that, multicolored faith, or what multi-faith. But please respect our faith, that this is our faith. It doesn't mean that to prove to you that I'm okay with you to go on, pub with you and drink a pint, It's not correct. And I'm not asking you just what to integrate to come to my masjid. Or because you came to my masjid, you have to come to my gay club. Who told you that yet? You come to my masjid, you're welcome. But you can't force me to go to your club. It's like, I don't like this cup of coffee, I like tea. I don't like the tea, I like Pepsi. It's a choice. So give me my choice, give me my freedom. Hope that I answered this question with as much as being careful. Fadl. Okay. The incident that took place in one of the European countries, that Quran event, burning event being taken place publicly, and there was somebody from the Muslims, he jumped onto that person, attacked him, and then actually there are other people as well jumped in and joined in as well, and everybody was arrested, the ones who burned the Quran and all of the ones as well attacked, and this person was being deemed to be a hero in the eyes of the Muslims because he'd done what he'd done. طيب. what is our response regarding such an issue? First of all, alhamdulillah, that this will not, inshallah, take place in our country, in this England. It will not take place, because I know that the Muslims are much stronger than the country that where this is taking place. Number two, let's say it took place. What is my response? First of all, you know that in that country, that demonstration was not approved by the government. The police had issued a warning that you're not supposed to burn this copy. And that man, the one who's the old man who was the head of these people, he's been, arrested more than once. And he's been humiliated, and he's not respected by the people themselves. I would say let even the disbelievers respond to this person. Because such a thing here, it will actually trigger the opposite. It will make more people interested to know about Islam, or bring Islam into focus again. Now, what is the question is that, are we supposed, a Muslim, to regard this person as a hero who had jumped into the person? Well, first of all, I don't know what made that person to jump. I mean, if he jumped and stopped the burning of the Quran, there's nothing wrong with that. He jumped to save a Quran. What is not correct is to take action to your hands and go and do something to that man. You could stop that person, hold him from burning the Quran, but you can't punish him, because they let the load take place. As for the Quran, you want to save it. That's, I would say, a normal reaction. If you are a believer, you're seeing your book being burnt. Well, you're going to just sit like this and laugh and smile. So this is a normal reaction. This person couldn't take himself. He should be not attacking them, you're just stopping that person, putting the Quran away from him. But he did what he did. But he was not that much attack. He'd been held to the ground and nothing happened. Nothing happened. So, in that sense, that person would not say he's a hero. He's acting as a Muslim. We are Muslims. This is our Quran, our book. We don't support any burning of any book, whether it is a Bible, which holds the words of Allah within it, or a Torah, or even man-made books. We don't support somebody who's like, I hate Harry Potter story. Let's burn it. Let's have an event of burning Harry Potter. We don't believe in that as well. Even it's not, a divine book. But we don't believe in such a book. Simply, you don't read it. Or write a book against Harry Potter. That's it. Write a book against Islam. That's it. Why you want to burn something? Provoke people like that. And he went in the middle of a Muslim place. That was a Muslim stronghold in that area. That's provocation. And the government didn't want that to happen. So as I said, will fire back. Fire back. People will embrace Islam because of this incident. And by the way, we are not the one who protected the deen. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a religion that Allah Azza wa Jal wanted for us to, embrace. As for you, as a person, being happy, and I'm sure you were happy for this man to go and jump in. I'm happy, 100% you're happy. Because if you had some iman in your heart, you'll be happy. I mean, come on, we can't just joke. Being you happy, this is natural. Because your book, it's like you are there. I'm happy, everybody's happy. Who's not happy? Put your finger up. Come on. Who's not happy? Look, everybody's. But you can't say it. You're happy. This is natural. Because somebody saved the Quran from being burned. It's enraging you. Okay? It's like this Salman Rushdie when he wrote a book against the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He didn't know he had awakened so many sleeping Muslims. He didn't know with that thing when he insulted Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those are the ones with the studs in their ears from the Muslims. The one who got everything. No way, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were up. So he backfire. That's why they put Salman Rushdie. You did the wrong thing. Keep away from this. You did the wrong. Lots of Muslims. Some people they never came to the masjid. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam being. So anyway, Allahu A'lam, what's going to be as an outcome for this? Everybody was happy because of that, because it's natural. Even I would say non-Muslim would sympathize with the Muslims regarding this issue. I remember when this burning of the Quran took place about 5 years ago. You remember? In Denmark, was it Denmark? I remember that somebody wanted to do this here. Churches, they were sent to us as a masjid in High Wycombe, the church. They sent us a letter that we are with the Muslims and we are with you and we will respect and we don't really believe in this and we don't support burning of the Quran. That's not from the values of the British and all of this. Big letter, I read it myself, from the church. Nobody would, the church people don't like that. Nobody would like, common sense. So that's why they call the EDL, idiots. What they are idiots. They're not really represent this. If England is EDL, that means England, they can't really invent a plane or something like this. This mentality cannot invent a plane. This is hooliganism. Hooliganism. That's what they are. They are doing bad to the British. Bad. What is their target? Muslim out. Is that what you're all EDL just for Muslim out? English Defense League. What is this? So these people are jealous. Islam is spreading so much in, is it Belgium? Norway. Spreading so much in Muslim all countries. They say, stop Islamization of this country, of their country. They're seeing it. Okay? They're seeing it with their own eyes. Islam is spreading for them like cancer. And they think, these idiot people, by burning the Quran, they're going to stop this. They're not going to stop this. They're going to trigger it more. You're feeling it. You're letting people to know about Islam. Why should you do that? Let me teach him how to fight Islam. I can bring him. This is not the way. Even the kuffar at the time, they would not do such a thing. They did not come to the Quran and started burning the Quran. They could have burnt some passages of the Quran. They did not do that. Kuffar of Quraysh. Allahu Alam. As I said, this person is mentally disordered, I'm sure. The one who burned the Quran is mentally disordered. That's what I believe. Now, that answers your question, inshallah. Faddal. What Quran gives as a message to the people who rejects what the Quran says about why the people reject the message of the prophets. The Quran represents or talks about number of reasons that why the people would reject the prophets, but I'm asking why just the Quran itself, why when you add to the Sunnah as well, the Prophet ﷺ. So what the Deen say regarding why the people reject the Prophet's message? First enemy is al-ilf, meaning habits of the people. People alifu, that means they got used to do something. You come from nowhere, present something, they haven't got used to it. So it is usually a response of a human being. You always, we said, man jahila shay'an ada. If you are not knowing something, your stand towards it is, I don't accept it. First, this is the first thing, reaction. Then slowly. So the first reaction will not accept it. Man jahila shay'an. So because he comes to them from something that would stop them to do something they used to do, or make them to do something that they never done, like the prayer, or stop them from the fornication. So they stop them. That's so we call it al-ilf. Second one, al-hawa, whims and desires. That stops the person, block him. The biggest blockage from people to embrace Islam, embrace the haqq. Hawa. I like it. I want to do this. I like it. So whatever he likes, he wants to do. As I said, he wants to be a leopard. He wants to be a tiger. I like it. Ilf al-hawa. And the third issue is ignorance. Ignorance is very bad. When you are ignorant, and then also habits inherited from before forefathers and all of that, that will go down. These are the main four reasons for why people do not follow the haqq. Wallahu a'lam. And there are other tiny reasons, but that's what I'm just saying. The first ones, the most strongest one. Did the punishment that they believed? Yes, but the punishment did not come to them. They saw the signs of the punishment. Prophet Yunus left them. They saw the signs coming. That's when they started coming out and calling Allah. And because all of them they believed, not some of them, all of them, they realized their mistake, Allah accepted their. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam wa subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.